Brought to you by Molson Canadian. By Pepsi. Pepsi reminds you to be young. Have fun. Drink Pepsi.
What a matchup. It's the Finnish Flash, the leading scorer in the NHL heading into this game, up against the Russian Rocket. Pavel Bure leads his team in goal scoring heading into action tonight. The Jets undefeated in the last 3 against the Canucks, looking for their first home win of the season. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the NHL Tonight. I'm Paul Romanuk along with Gary Green, second half of our doubleheader. Gary, you've talked about it a few times in the last few games, and that is a team is only going to be as good as its superstar players.
Well, we were just talking about that Monday night at Maple Leaf Gardens. The Leafs trying to get going. They did. Their big guns got going. Gilmore and Tkachuk, and they win the hockey game. Same thing's got to happen here in Vancouver. But they have got to get big goaltending. First of all, Kirk McLean hasn't played like he played in playoffs for them. He has got to perform at that level. They've got to get their other guns, their offensive guns going. Pavel Bure, Trevor Linden, Ronning, Courtnall, and Brown back in the blue line. If those guys, the guys that are making the big money, if they play well, capitalize on their opportunities, then this Canuck team is still a good hockey club, a team that can play the way that they played in the playoffs. But if those guys don't go, Paul, hey, they're not going anyplace.
A big positive for the Winnipeg Jets. They're undefeated in the last 3, and assistant coach Andy Murray, talking to him this morning after the skate, he said, we're playing very, very well in the third period. Strong finishes from the Finnish Flash and company. Watching the Jets tonight in the third period, throughout the entire game for that matter, and the Vancouver Canucks, is Howie Meeker. Here's Howie.
Well, Paul, Howie will be along when I'm ready to bring him on. Thanks very much. Jim Houston back here. Glad to be back. Paul, you just take the rest of the night off. I'll take it from here. Gary, you slide out for a sandwich. Gord, I'll produce from the rest of the way on this one. Howie, come on in here. Ricky, could we have a nice little two-shot, maybe roll red on this? Would you like to be on my show tonight, and what would you like to say?
What I'd like to say, hey, with a great offense on the ice tonight, just give me that telestrator. It's going to be super.
All right, well, we'll let you stay. This is Jim Houston signing off, and who has more fun than people?
I'm not going to follow that act up. Here's John Wells. See if he has any special guests. Maybe Hodge will be on with him. I don't know. John?
Just Max here, but we're holding the fort. 5 games complete in the NHL tonight. Flames and the Ducks still going at it at Olympic Saddledome. Calgary Flames, solid start this season. 2 wins and a tie in the first 3 games. Ever since, they have gone win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. What's the problem?
Well, they're certainly getting great goaltending from Trevor Kidd, but the biggest problem with the Calgary Flames is the injury bug. They've got as many as 8 regulars out. Ronnie Stern, the latest guy, he's got a hairline fracture of his foot. He's out of the situation, so you get that many injuries, you're going to have problems.
Little pressure building in Calgary. We'll watch that. And live to Vancouver when we return on Molson NHL Tonight. We'll see if these 2 teams can break out of their horrific slumps.
Well, this just in. Seconds ago, Pavel Bure scratched tonight because he's suffering from the flu. Tonight's starting goaltenders brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates. Nikolai Habibulin gets the call, his 3rd start in the last 4 games. Tim Cheveldae played last night. Kirk McLean getting the call, his 5th start in a row for Vancouver. Nothing unusual there. He has played a lot of hockey the last few years, over 3,100 minutes per year for the last 5. Don Van Massenhoven is the referee, and we are underway. The Jets in blue and the Canucks in white. And a tough break for Vancouver. You saw Pavel Bure warming up with the team, took the warm-up, offside called on Winnipeg, however, did not come out to start the game. The flu bug is running rampant through the Canucks dressing room, and it takes a bite out of Rick Lee's club tonight.
Well, this morning after the pregame skate, Rick Lee just had no idea who was going to be in his roster tonight. Well, he had a little bit of an idea. He knew that Kirk McLean was healthy. He knew that, well, Ronning was all right, but past that, he wasn't certain. He had 4 guys that missed pregame practice. He had another 4 guys that skated but didn't feel well. So he had 8 guys in total that are suffering from the flu.
Well, tough to miss a guy who's generated 217 points in the last couple of years. Led the NHL in goal scoring last year. So we'll see if the Canucks can suck it up tonight. They've been struggling at home. They've yet to win here at the Pacific Coliseum. Gerald Diddick, number 4, back to pick it up. Dallas Drake is in hot pursuit. Up around the boards, Leeman in the lineup tonight for the Canucks, just tipping it out to center. And both teams will make some early changes. Greg Adams. Jamnov watching him. He sends it up, and here comes Linden. Top of the slot. He crashes towards the net and crashes right into the net. Habibulin will hang on to it.
likes the way that Howie Meeker plays. He thinks that he's a fighter. Howie Meeker plays back in his net quite a bit. Well, that's very much the custom to goaltenders who have been used to playing on big ice surfaces. You can't get caught out of position on big ice surfaces, and especially the way that they play in a passing game. But John Paddock right now needs to have this team come together. Tonight's a very important night for them. They didn't really play a great game last night in Edmonton. They let in 2 bad goals. He wasn't satisfied with their overall performance, but things have been a little brighter than the first of the season for John Paddock and the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, they had been playing well in the third period. As I mentioned a few moments ago, they had a great game against Calgary on Monday where they came roaring from behind to win the game in the dying moments. Efforts like that will put a smile on the coach's face.
Well, what would put a smile on John Paddock's face tonight is if Howie Meeker came out with an outstanding effort tonight, and these players on the bench did the same. He needs consistency from the bench.
Yeah, Winnipeg in the midst of a tough road swing. They head down to St. Louis for a game Saturday. They're in Dallas on Monday.
Then they come back to play Detroit and St. Louis. Tough week ahead.
Pekka with a shot. That's knocked away. Pekka, the only rookie in the Canucks lineup. Weaving around, trying to get it out in front of the net. Puck knocked away now. Shannon gets it up ahead. Here comes Alexei Zhamnov on the way up. Canucks making a stand there at the line, and they'll take a penalty. A hooking call coming up, and Winnipeg will get a shot on the power play. Trevor Linden with a protest, but in vain as he cruises to the box.
Well, Trevor Linden put his stick high on Zhamnov, but Zhamnov just seemed to drop very quickly. Now watch. Linden just pulled on his right shoulder just a bit, but Zhamnov seemed to go down like a ton of bricks, and Trevor Linden was a little upset the fact that he felt that was too obvious of a dive.
The Jets' power play has been nothing special on the road this year. 4 for 30 on the road. Overall, 18.2%. And Gary talked earlier about Vancouver's woeful penalty killing. It is the worst in the NHL. So we'll see what Winnipeg can swing on the power play. Newman in with it. Selanne and Tkachuk up front. No surprise there. Zhamnov as well. The big guns all up front for Winnipeg. Newman trying to fire it up. Knocked down. Cortnell, one of the fine penalty killers in the NHL, will rag the puck, drop it back, and Dana Merzen sees some open ice and gets it down. Nelson Emerson. Normally a forward, but they'll park him back at the blue line during the power play. And Selanne now watching him. 1:12 to go on the man advantage for Winnipeg. Emerson. Newman up through center. Selanne will head in along with Tkachuk and Zhamnov. Puck up along the boards. Emerson can't keep it in. Newman back there to get it. Selanne now watching him. 55 seconds left in the man advantage, and great work by Selanne. Look at him, he's right on him. Knocks him down, almost got the puck towards the net. Now Emerson coming up for Tkachuk, he's on the move, heading down to the corner. Selanne hanging back, Zhamnov going towards the front of the net. Here's Selanne. Ricochets it off the boards, gets it down the ice. Solid penalty killing so far from the Canucks, still with 35 seconds to go in the Winnipeg power play.
Selanne and Tkachuk coming off the ice, and those two players are skating as well as they can skate. They're at the top of their game right now, and it's a good time in their careers to be at the top.
Dave Manson trying to twist out of trouble, got it up to Steen. Here comes Dallas Drake in over the line. Drake up there with Korolev going towards the front of the net. Steen is out of the slot as well. Drake down to Korolev. Steen goes right to the front. This is Drake. Gets it down low. Korolev going after it. Here's Steen. Nobody in front. Now Drake moving towards the front of the net. Penalized player is back on. Puck banged off the boards by Diddick. Steen lofting one in, and Kirk McLean will hang on to it. So McLean fielding the puck confidently, something he didn't do earlier this week in the game against Chicago. Hope you're enjoying the game so far. Closed captioning this period courtesy of Regal Capital Planners, over 25 years helping Canadians reach financial independence. Teams at even strength, 16:33 to go in period number 1. I'm Paul Romanuk with Gary Green. Second half of our NHL doubleheader. I mentioned Kirk McLean fielding the puck there. The game against Chicago earlier this week, he gave up a goal 8 seconds in, one that was just kind of flipped in on goal, like that shot we saw going to commercial. Thompson trying to punch it through. That's knocked down.
Winnipeg's got their bang and crash line out here right now with King, Eagles, and Domi. That's the way they have to play.
Thompson shoots. Lots of traffic in front, and McLean was right there. Technically sound, making the stop.
But the perfect play here, you've got a bang and crash line out like Winnipeg has got. Feed the points, because these guys, King and Domi especially, Eagles likes to play down low, they'll go to the net. Thompson just got that puck back, and you could see 2 blue sweaters in front, which brings 3 white sweaters to front. And how does Kirk McLean see that puck?
I don't know whether he did or not, but talking to Howie Meeker earlier today, Jim Houston as well, and just remarking how Kirk McLean is so fundamentally sound. He just seems to be in position. A great stand-up goaltender.
Played all 24 games in playoffs last year and played outstanding.
Slager will loft it back in for the Canucks. 16 minutes to go in the first period. Lots of time. 0-0 is the score. Good pace to start this game out. And here comes King for the Jets. Working it up ahead. Domi lumbering it over the line on the right-hand side in towards the net. McLean will play it up around the glass and back out. Neil Wilkinson will cruise back to pick it up. And both teams making a few changes on the go. Wilkinson with a bit of time. Not much, but he gets it up to Jamnov. Jamnov coming in over the line. Grosek going towards the net with him. Puck is chopped in off the boards by Domi. And Ronning will fire it up for Vancouver. Up to Slager. Nathan Lafayette couldn't knock it down. Ronning goes after it. Didick. Zipped it up. Ronning couldn't knock that down. Newman is back to pick it up. Ronning buzzing around him, but two-line pass called. Pardon me, icing called with 15:11 to go in the first.
One player that they can count on back in their blue line, the Winnipeg Jets, is Teppo Numminen, who really is their best defenseman. But the problem with the Jets is that they just don't have enough players like Teppo Numminen. They're really relying a great deal this year on Wilkinson, who they acquired. Manson really kind of tailed off a couple of years ago in his career. He's a good, solid defenseman, tends to give up the puck once or twice a game in his own end zone, but what they're lacking right now is some depth on their blue line.
Here's Numminen. Shoots! Again through traffic. Couldn't land the payload on goal that time. Jyrki Lumme. Outside the line, puck bounces around, knocked up and ahead. Linden breaking towards the net. Courtnall had the puck. Only momentarily, Numminen stripped him of the puck. Here's Selanne. Fighting his way in over the blue line. Tkachuk up there with him. Knocked away, and Lumme will move it back up. Tkachuk right there to grab it. Selanne straddling the line. Tkachuk comes in. Tried to get it over to Selanne. He still got it with a shot. Whistled that one wide.
You can see that when Tkachuk had the puck, the first thing he looked for was the net, because he assumed that Timo Selanne would be heading in that direction.
A valid assumption when you're on the ice with Selanne. Ullinow takes a bump. Pekka up there to pick it up. Knifed it across in front of the net. Linden couldn't knock it down, but he gets it in around the boards. Pekka, number 33, up there after it. Couldn't come up with it. Zamnov motoring out to center. Gets it up to Selanne. Grosek and Zamnov going to the front of the net. Here's Zamnov. Looking. Grosek is circling high in the slot. Selanne is down low. Linden pokes it out. Linden and Courtnall.
They were fighting for the puck. Courtnall and Linden against each other.
Kirk McLean out to play it. Up over the glass.
That was the case that Courtnall and Linden were both at the end of a long shift and were both trying to get to the bench, and at the same time both trying to get the puck to get it down and deep.
And I think Kirk is going to take a penalty here for clearing it up over the glass.
Well, there's some question as to whether it went off a Winnipeg player's stick.
Well, no question in the view of referee Don Van Massenhoven. Kirk McLean has been very un-McLean-like a few times this year. That game I was talking about earlier against Chicago on Sunday, he was pulled early in the second period after he'd given up 6 goals on 15 shots. Now, how often has that happened in his career? Certainly not last year.
Well, and that's been some of the problems, and I say some because you can't look at the Vancouver Canucks and say that it's all Kirk McLean's fault. Far from it, but yet he is a main ingredient to this hockey club, and when he doesn't play well and you don't get great goaltending, you're just not going to win a lot of hockey games, and especially when your big snipers aren't putting the puck in the net effectively.
It's Cliff Ronning serving the penalty. Puck comes back to Newman. Second power play now. Emerson works it up. Second power play for the Jets. Emerson shoots. That one tipped wide. Drake was there in front of the net. Newman tucks it in around back of the goal. Steen looking for somebody. Emerson to Newman. Top of the point for Emerson. Works it across. Drake is down in front. Steen as well. There's his shot. That's knocked away. Lume chopping at it. Selanne down there as well. 3 Jets into the corner. Steen will hoe it loose. Back to Newman and ready aim. Fire with the stop. Puck comes out. And Selanne will work it out to center. And eat up time. 1:19 left in the power play for the Jets. Drake up there after it. Zamnov hanging back along the boards will take it. Zamnov still. Korolev going towards the front of the net. Manson will move up after it. Didick streaking into the corner. Leeman gets it up to Selanne. He's on the way up there. Got some company too. Selanne sends it. Oh! Glorious chance for Brown. Back the other way. Korolev drops it off. Takes the return feed. Zamnov going after it. 40 seconds left in the power play. Manson moves it up. Here's Emerson. Tkachuk is parked right in front. There's the shot. That's knocked down. Adams after it. Here's Emerson. Selanne comes over the boards now. Here's Zamnov. Selanne going for the front of the net. 20 seconds left in the power play. Puck comes back to Manson. Emerson's at the near point. He's got it. He waits. Down to Selanne. Tkachuk looking around. And Dana Merzen gets it out, and that will about do it for this Winnipeg power play. Great short-handed chance for the Canucks.
Outstanding save by Howie Meeker.
Teams back at even strength. 11:39 to go in the first period. 0-0. Tkachuk coming in with Eagles. Eagles going towards the front of the net. Puck knocked away. And here comes Trevor Linden. Linden gets it ahead. Delayed penalty. Courtnall back to Linden. Shoots. Tipped up off the glass. Brown with a shot. That stopped. Here's Linden crashing the front of the goal. Running up there too. And play is called. Vancouver will pick up its first power play chance of the hockey game. An interference call against the Jets. Keith Tkachuk. Keith Tkachuk in the box called for interference, and Vancouver with his first power play of the game.
Not a good penalty on Tkachuk's part. Watch the left-hand side of your screen. He realizes that it could be a 3-on-2, but all he's got to do is take about a stride. It wasn't as though Ronning was just blowing by him by any means. He stuck out that stick and tried to hitchhike, pulled Ronning back, and ended up getting a penalty for it.
Vancouver with power play goals in 7 of their 8 games this year, and 9 of their 22 goals that they've scored have come on the power play. Pekka out there at center. Courtnall and Linden on the wings. Here's Brown shooting. Howie Meeker picks it off just like that.
And he's been sharp tonight. That's the 5th shot that he's had on him, but watch. Howie Meeker, he's got a kind of an awkward little crouch. He's at the top of his circle. They're trying to get him to play out a little bit more than he was accustomed to playing. He really did play back in his net a long ways.
As many European goaltenders do. They like to hang back in the net. As you were mentioning, here's Brown. Shoots, score! Sniped one in the power play, and the Canucks grab the lead.
Well, Brown just got a nice $1.8 million a year contract. There was a great draw right off of Trevor Linden, back to the point. Now watch, what a screen set up in front of Howie Meeker. You really can't blame Howie Meeker too much for this because he can't see the puck. Mike Pekka goes to the net. Great play by Pekka. in order to screen Abby Boulin, and Mike Pekka has been a big-time favorite in Rick Lee's book so far this season.
Pekka picks up the assist on Brown's power play goal. And the Canucks right back. Here's Ronning trying to feed it in front. Ronning muscling there with Wilkinson. Lafayette up there to chop at it, but here comes Selanne. Cross ice, Tkachuk going after it. Leeman knocks it down. Lafayette just pushed it in over the line. Tkachuk holding him off. Here's Leeman. The Canucks out shooting the Jets 6-1 and leading the game 1-0. King going after it. Here's Thompson being watched by Ronning. Mamesso shoots. He's stopped by Abby Boulin, who smothers it promptly.
Mamesso suffering from the flu, but is playing tonight. He was looking for a loose puck. Abby Boulin didn't give him one. The big players like Mamesso and Linden and Hunter on this team have got to go to the net. There you see a little chop behind, but Mamesso got the puck out. Right out in front, Abby Boulin quick to cover up. Mamesso has to play a bumping and grinding game. He's 6'3", 215, and that's something that the Canucks have not done much of this season at all, and that is play aggressively. Pat Quinn, the president and general manager of this hockey club, along with Glenn Hanlon, assistant coach.
.10:13 to go, 1-0. Canucks on top. They get a power play goal. Here's Slager. Shoots it in, tipped just wide. That was tipped in front, and Abby Boulin took the telltale look over his shoulder. He wasn't sure where it was either. Here's Shannon. Manson is pushing it in. Slager back to pick it up. Merzen gets it outside the blue line. And Daryl Shannon will fire it right back in. Merzen trying to move it up the middle. Puck rolling around. Hunter stepping up to take charge. Moves it in. Hunter goes right towards the front of the net. Ojek had it taken away from him. King coming back. King up there. He's got Eagles and Domi. Domi down to King. Tried to cut around on the outside. Didn't have any room once he got in tight on McLean. Leeman moves it back out, knocked down by Newman. Here's Gary Leeman. Diddick. Oh, if you can't go along the ice, go through the air. He flips it way up and ahead. Selanne coming in on the backhand, centers it in. Front of the floor. By Selanne, and it's 2-0 for the Canucks.
Well, Selanne has really been flying out there tonight. Abby Boulin had to go from his right, or his left to his right, and Gary Leeman, who was added to the lineup because of the flu tonight of other players, all of a sudden ends up with a goal. He just swatted at that puck. It seemed to be flipping through the air and ended up going right into the top stick side shelf of Abby Boulin.
Well, sort of a strange pass, the way the puck was just cleared way up over everybody, just bounced down outside the blue line.
We've got a goaltending change here early. Tim Chevelday, who played last night in Edmonton, is now going in. I'd have a tough time blaming Abby Boulin for those two goals.
Yeah, very tough time. I'm sure that's what Nikolai Abby Boulin is thinking as well. Made a couple of nice stops.
So watch, maybe they're just bringing him to the bench to let him gain his composure, and he may be going back in.
Well, John Paddock went right over to speak to him, and Howie Bullen has kept the mask on in the equipment, and he's standing up. But Cheveldae is in for now. Cheveldae did not have a banner night last evening, let in a couple of bad goals. Here comes Leeman. We'll see if they get a chance to test Cheveldae. Puck drop back. And Cheveldae out there to knock that away. Plavsic came in with the shot. Leeman works it across. Plavsic will flip it up. Leeman cruising it around back of the net, looking for it, trying to take it away from Ulanov. Adams was there in front, couldn't get his stick on it.
Once again, it's Selanne that was creating the opportunity, tried to get that puck out to Adams.
Adams couldn't knock it down. Canucks on a line change, so Adams temporarily up there by himself, but now Lafayette and Momesso move up there to help him. Lafayette gets it back to Adams. Momesso's in front. Here's Adams in front. Gets a second whack at it. Fired that one just wide. Momesso legging over there after it.
That was a pretty good opportunity for us to examine the defense of the Winnipeg Jets, who just allowed that scoring opportunity because of the lack of aggressiveness.
Grosek going for the front of the net. This is Korolev with the puck. He's knocked down. Ronning took it away from him like a little buzzsaw. Here's Lafayette. He'll clear it in. Cheveldae just parks it there. Grosek scores! Vancouver.
And Howie Bullen's going back into the net. Ronning just saw Lafayette come out from the corner, and he also saw that there was no Jet defenseman on him. Lafayette walked right out. Brent Thompson was late getting back in front of the net. Lafayette beat him to it. Ronning just threw him the puck just in the direction of him, and he just deflected it right by Cheveldae.
Boy, nice pair of soft hands there from Lafayette with that tip.
Howie Bullen back in the nets now after Cheveldae gives up one goal.
Here's Trevor Linden. McLean will leave it there for Brown. Lafayette gets the goal. Cliff Ronning picks up an assist. And Howie Bullen's just going to hang on to it. Pick a goalie, any goalie. Spin the wheel, and it comes up for now anyways. Howie Bullen is still in there. And making a few stops tonight has been Nikolai Howie Bullen, also let in a couple. He was pulled. Tim Cheveldae went in. He gave up a goal, and now Tim Cheveldae is back in the bench. That'll really help the old goals against average.
Yeah, one goal in very few minutes. And his goals against Tim Cheveldae's, that is, isn't very good already this year in 7 games, 4.09.
6:41 to go in the period. That's been a strange first period.
John Paddock's got his bumping and thumping line out there right now, trying to get some momentum going for the Jets.
Newman moves it up. Here's Eagles. Up off the glass. Didn't get a very favorable bounce there. It hit one of the gaps in the glass and bounced back behind him. Newman. McIntyre up there watching him. Eagles will try it again. Up to Domi. King wide open on the left side. They'll throw it into his corner. Here's King. Centers it in front. Tapped away. McIntyre with it. Gets it up and ahead. Ojic just clears it in. Newman back there. Eagles looking for it. And way back behind the play. King tied up on the ice. And an elbowing penalty coming up. King was tied up there with McIntyre. And King will go to the box.
McIntyre was originally scratched for tonight's game, and then he ended up back in the lineup when Burry couldn't play.
Pardon me, it's McIntyre going to the box. He gets called for that little scrum back behind the play.
Well, with 6 minutes to go in this first period of play, and there you see the elbow. I don't know, it was somewhat questionable.
The referee tonight was supposed to be Rob Schick, but Rob has a sore knee. He was coming off knee surgery and was refereeing Tuesday in Anaheim. The knee flared up on him again, and we were talking to him before, and he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So Don Van Massenhoven heads in to answer the call tonight. And we can just barely fit Don's name onto the little graphic there. He might be one guy who's happy not to have it on the back of his jersey. I think it went from one elbow to the other.
The Jets with their big line out here right now trying to get something going. 5 of their best players need a goal in the time of need for the Jets right now.
Selanne, Tkachuk, Jamnov all up front in this power play. Here's Jamnov. Gets it in on goal. McLean just scared it away. It went right between Tkachuk and Selanne, heading towards the front of the net. Tkachuk will go after. He's got Selanne lurking in the weeds, just moving towards the front of the goal. He's parked in front. Now he goes around back of the net as this scrum continues along the boards. Here's Emerson looking. Gets it over to Jamnov. Tkachuk is parked in front. There's the shot, knocked down. Selanne lunging after it. Big chance right in front for Jamnov, and he was stopped cold. Lots of time to tee it up, and now a penalty coming up. And it's going to go against the Canucks. No, pardon me, against the Jets, but what a flurry there in front.
Tkachuk plays the game tough. And he might be picking up a little bit more than an original 2 here. Watch Merson and watch Tkachuk. Oh. Well, that's why he got it.
Initially, I thought he called Merson on the retaliation, and the Canucks bench had just erupted. Everybody was standing up, yelling at the referee. 2 and 2 is handed out, the cross-check and unsportsmanlike to Keith Tkachuk.
Keith Tkachuk is a fiery guy. As leader of this hockey club, you know he's going to take aggressive penalties, but he can't afford to take unsportsmanlike penalties. John Paddock seeing his team come apart at the seams here in the first period.
And unusual in that they've been playing pretty well the last few games. After going into a real spin, here's Ronning. Ronning up to the line, drops it back. Plavsic steers it up around back of the goal. Ronning didn't quite have enough gas to get away. Here's Ronning now, curling along those boards, trying to get it loose. Newman and checking him. Teams are at even strength for the next 30 seconds. Puck in front for Ronning, and he is hammered.
He got belted from behind by Thomas Steen.
He's back up behind the play. Steen is right up there too, and here's Manson. Puck just came outside the line. Offside is called on Winnipeg. Ronning really took a belt, but he got right back up. 4:25 to go in the first period. It is 3-0 for Vancouver. They will have a power play in another 18 seconds.
The 34-year-old Thomas Steen still has got a lot of hockey left in him, and he's been playing very well this season for the Winnipeg Jets, and they have had him between Selanne and Tkachuk as of late. That's been their #1 unit. Jamnov sometimes goes in and takes over for Steen when they've got to get Jamnov going. Steen's been a very reliable player for this Jets organization over his long career.
He's in his 14th season. He's #2 on the Jets' all-time list for points, goals, and assists. And he's behind Dale Hawerchuk, the greatest Jet of them all, some would argue, of the modern era. Of course, Bobby Hull would take the title overall, I think, in the minds of a lot of hockey fans. Here's Courtnall, winds and fires. Abby Bullen will stop that one.
Courtnall didn't have much angle to shoot from. He just decided that the way that things have been going for the Canucks in this first period and for the goaltending of the Jets, why not wind up and take a shot? You see what Jeff Courtnall has? He's got one of those, not bandages, but one of those nose guards on that the NFL players have been using, and it actually opens up your nasal passages and allows you to breathe easier.
Yeah, it's an adhesive bandage with a stiff piece of plastic in it, and the theory is that it does dilate the nostrils a little, although I asked a doctor about it, and he said it makes him think that they're a little more wide open. I don't know how effective they are. Here's Courtnall, shoots, and a beat in the short side. Pekka goes after it, penalty coming up. An interference call, and that will take a bite out of the Vancouver power play. You can see how Trevor Linden reacts to that.
There's a shot by Courtnall. Linden was in the front of the net looking for a screen, and you could see for the second time in the game, Linden kind of used that big hook of his.
Second penalty of the game for Trevor. And if it's any consolation, all things being equal, Vancouver will still have 40 seconds to go in a power play once Trevor Linden's penalty expires. Keith Tkachuk picking up a double minor. He's still in the box for Winnipeg. Picked up 2 for cross-checking and another 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct. Ulanov gets it up ahead. Here's Zhamnov crisscrossing at the line with Selanne, who was offside.
You didn't like... Oh. The nose protector?
Oh no, not at all.
I was joking, of course, because some of the players that wear face masks, helmets, throat guards, everything else, I mean, that's a hard piece in that bandage, and it ends up protecting your nose, Paul. That's what it's really there for, not to make it breathe easier.
The nose protector, exactly. I thought there'd been a rash of shaving accidents in the NHL. Here's Courtnall. Moves it up. Diddick going after it. Diddick bumping there with Ulanov. Claiming the spoils and moving in is Pekka with a shot. Almost caught Howie Meeker going across the net. But Howie Meeker got a piece of it. Zhamnov coming in. And a hammer at center. Mike Pekka. Absolutely crushed his man. And now Pekka has drawn a crowd back inside the blue line.
Well, Mike Pekka has been playing very fierce game, and when Timo Selanne goes down and is wobbling the way he is right now, you know that that was a thunderous hit.
Selanne was just creamed coming through the neutral zone by Pekka. And Manson went right after Pekka.
Pekka and Manson are both going to the penalty box. John Paddock is more concerned about the status of his star player. Timo Selanne has just been at the top of his game. Watch this check. Timo Selanne had his head someplace else. He was looking at the puck. But the thing was, where was the puck?
That is the hardest I have ever seen Timo Selanne hit. He can usually...
Watch again. Now watch where the puck is. Nowhere's close to Timo Selanne, and that's why Pekka picked up the penalty. I mean, it's interference. He just ran him right over. And Timo Selanne wasn't even close to the puck.
But John Paddock is ticked because they're offsetting minors. Pekka gets 2 for interference. Manson, who came to Solanne's aid, picks up 2 for roughing.
Let's watch it again from this angle. You can see that the puck was clearly, it was Zhamnov had the puck. It was clear that Pekka just took a pretty good run right at Selanne, and Selanne couldn't see it. Couldn't see it coming, didn't expect it coming because he didn't have the puck. John Paddock has a right to be upset.
Well, I'm curious to see what Ty Domi does in his next shift, because he was almost as upset as the coach on the bench, yelling at the referee. It was a war last year when these two teams met. They played 4 times. The Canucks won all 4 games, but Keith Tkachuk was telling us before the game they were all battles. Really tough and intense games. And this one is the first meeting of the year between these two teams, and it's starting to shape up that way.
Timo Selanne is heading to the players' dressing room, and I'll tell you what, when your big star player gets hit like that, and we're in for a war here tonight, folks, because the Winnipeg Jets will be looking for payback.
2:55 still to go in the first period. If you've just joined us and you're looking for the other superstar, Pavel Bure, Pavel came out, warmed up, but then did not make it out for the start of the game. He's suffering from the flu. So he gave it a try, but didn't feel up to it. Steen trying to get loose in the corner. Corlett drops it off. Wilkinson right up there. Team's playing 4-on-4 for the next 40 seconds. Here's Thompson. And after that, Vancouver will have a power play. Corlett. Drake going towards the front of the net. Thompson looking for it. Puck in front. That's knocked away by Kirk McLean. Good shot by Thompson. Here's Brown. Adams is breaking up the middle. Brown gets it over to Lume. Brown in over the line. He goes towards the net. Puck smoked in on goal by Leeman. Here's Adams in back of the net, looking in front. Leeman trying to get loose. Lume curls up there as well. Here's Adams. Drops it back for Brown. Shooting. That's hit just wide. Happy Bullen got a piece of it, and it just wobbled wide of the post. Here's Lume. He'll ring it around the boards. Vancouver on the power play now for the next 27 seconds. Lamesso drops it in, and it ends up going against the side of the net. Happy Bullen smothering it there with 23 seconds to go in Vancouver's power play.
Vancouver have looked much better offensively in tonight's game, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Winnipeg Jets haven't been very good defensively. Even when they've been killing the penalties, they're playing a lot like they did last year. They're not playing very aggressively.
Tonight's game brought to you in part by Dodge Trucks, Canada's truck stop. 1:31 to go. Vancouver on the power play. I'm Paul Romanek with Gary Green, John Wells, and Bob McKenzie back at TSN Control. Here's Lume. Shoots it. That's tipped up over the glass and out of play. 19 seconds to go on the power play. You wonder, in light of Montreal making the trade today and so on, did they give up on Jyrki Lume a little bit too soon in his career?
I don't think there's any question about that, and they'd probably readily admit that, because Jyrki Lume has been a very good defenseman here for the Vancouver Canucks. Not necessarily at his best this season, along with a number of other Canucks. But last year, he was a key performer.
And as it ended up, that deal, he was traded for a draft pick that ended up being Craig Darby, who is currently leading Fredericton, the Canadiens farm team, in scoring with 41 points. So that may yet work out for Montreal. Brown clearing it in. Linden moving up after it. Newman just clears it out. Penalized player Keith Tkachuk is back on. The team's all even up with 1 minute to go in the first period.
Eagles and Linden were at it. Trevor Linden's picking up a penalty here. He ran over Mike Eagles way back in the Jets zone, right along the boards. Trevor Linden taking his 3rd trip to the penalty box tonight.
And for the penalty for number 16, Trevor Linden, 2 minutes for roughing.
I don't think Rick Lee, though, minds these type of penalties. He likes to see Trevor Linden playing a meaner game. That's exactly what Trevor Linden was doing when he took that penalty.
He plays a mean game, and he plays every game. Trevor has played every game the last 4+ seasons for Vancouver. And when you look at the style he plays, Gary, that's a real credit to him.
When you're 6'4", 210 pounds, you've got to play an aggressive game on a regular basis. And you see the power play opportunities for the Jets so far tonight, only 2 shots.
Tkachuk up there in the face-off. He'll take the draw against Nathan Lafayette.
Obviously without Timo Selanne right now.
And Newman is up there. Here's Newman looking around. He and Korolev will switch it up. Newman gets back to the point where he belongs. Over to Emerson. Moves it down. Tkachuk is wrestling in front. Here's Newman and shoots. Tkachuk tried to tip it. He was being otherwise occupied by Dana Merson. Puck comes back out in front. McLean, big save as Emerson had moved right in. And here we go again.
Well, the Jets are going to the net. There's no question about that. Nelson Emerson waltzed right in, let that shot go. There were lots of both colored sweaters in front of Kirk McLean again. Dana Merson has had a rough going over tonight, but Dana Merson's been playing better tonight and not feeling too well either. There's the shot. Nelson Emerson came right into the slot. He's the forward playing the point on the power play, and of course that drew a crowd.
And Merson had a real battle going in front of the net with Keith Tkachuk as well.
He was upset at Tkachuk from before, and so perfect opportunity for Merson.
So Merson picks up a cross-checking penalty. Tkachuk picks up a roughing penalty, offsetting minors. So status quo, it remains a power play for Winnipeg for
John Paddock and Ty Domi looking down at the Vancouver bench because Mike Pekka has come out of the penalty box and to the Canucks bench. Do you think he's a marked man for the rest of the night? Ty Domi says yes. I would suggest that the first time that Mike Pekka is back on the ice that Ty Domi will be following shortly after.
That'll be a real test for Pekka. The only rookie in the lineup for the Canucks this year. 20 seconds to go in the period. And Winnipeg on the power play. The power play will carry over to the second period, barring a goal here in the dying seconds. Here's Emerson. Had to wait for Zhamnov to clear the zone. Now Zhamnov picks it up. Korolev going to the front of the net. Zhamnov looking for a bit of room. Time ticking down. They may get a shot. Puck knocked in front, and time runs out. So the power play will continue for Winnipeg at the start of the second period.
Well, the Jets can't lose their focus all over Timo Selanne right now because they're down 3 goals. But I'll tell you what, if I'm Ricky Lee, I'm sure thinking about who I'm going to play with Mike Pekka when he comes out in the ice. It's going to be Ojic or Hunter. You can bet on that.
He'll need someone to watch his back, and we'll see how that storyline unfolds in the second period. Before we get to that, we'll get to this. Our first intermission, Bob McKenzie and John Wells putting in a long night at our Hockey Control Center. We'll have all the highlights and news of the day for you. And, hey, Howie Meeker will be with us, too, on the NHL tonight.
Howie Meeker is on the line and ready at the telestrator. First up, first goal of the night for the Vancouver Canucks. Jeff Brown gets it, but Howie, you want to look at Linden getting the draw, right?
Well, that was the key. The key is, though, that the Vancouver Canucks special teams have been terrible. Just -5, and you can't be that and expect to win hockey games. They had 2 penalties against them. They killed them very, very well. Then a power play, and yahoo, they get the big goal. All right, Linden come in here and took the draw, and keep your eye on him. He just takes his man after winning the draw, and this is Brown here. But the key is, you got to be smart in this game. You can't be dumb. And for the Winnipeg Jets to put a checker out there, I can't believe it. Because if the puck does go to Courtnall, what's he going to do with it out there? Absolutely nothing. Now, the other thing is, Pekka, after the draw, starts in here, and this man starts out, but he says, oh, I can't go out and get Brown. I better take Pekka. Now, watch what happens. There, wins the draw. Stop it right there. Now, stop it right there. Look, He's heading for the net where he should be going. But look at all the room that Brown has. He walks in, tees it up, and Howie Meeker couldn't stop that one. There it is. Top corner, off the crossbar, off the post, in it is, and that's the first big goal.
All right, Howie Meeker had a little trouble with the next goal, and it is Gary Leeman getting the goal, finding the touch again. Martin Gelinas making the play. Howie?
If he gets the touch back, he'll be quite an asset for this hockey club because he can be quite a player. All right, Didick has the puck here, and all he does is alley-oop it out into center ice. There she goes. Now it drops down. Stop it right here. Stop it right here. Now, Gelinas, I think, will come in here and pick it up. Just let it go a little bit more. All right, stop it right there. Now, that's Gelinas, and watch his legs. He catches this defenseman flat-footed, out to lunch. But the key guy here is Leeman. Leeman comes around here. Let her go. Now, watch Leeman. Stop it right there, right there. Look at here. Look where he's looking. Look where he's looking. Look, he's not in any trouble at all. Gelinas hasn't got enough legs to beat that guy and put it in the net. Stop it there. Now he's wide and everything else. Both of them still looking here. Here's the guy, Leeman. Two fellas. Gelinas slides it in front. Howie Meeker way out high. Couldn't get across, and boom. Vancouver up 2-0 on two good plays.
Two plays there, and one more after that. It is 3-0 more from Howie Meeker in our second intermission from Vancouver as the Canucks find the scoring touch in this one so far for a 3-0 lead on the Jets. Here's the first period scoring summary brought to you by your local McDonald's restaurants. Period number 1, Jeff Brown from Trevor Linden to give Vancouver a 1-0 lead. That goal on the power play at 8:51. Then Martin Gelinas and Gerald Didick helping out on Gary Leeman's first of the season at 11:05 for good measure. Lafayette's from Ronning to make it 3-0. Shots in the game, 16-6. And let's get back to Vancouver.
Oh, Ty Domi with fire in his eyes and hot words, too, as he skated right over to the Vancouver bench and was yakking at Canucks head coach Rick Lee. He was right over at the bench. The referee had to come over and pull him away. This could get hot.
Well, you know that something's going to happen. Ty Domi is just warning them right now. He's upset that Timo Selanne was run over by Mike Pekka. It'll be interesting to see when Mike Pekka does go onto the ice, who he's going to go onto the ice with.
Well, it looks as though Ty is going to go to the penalty box right now. Don Van Massenhoven pointing at Domi and indicating, and he just finished coming over to the Winnipeg bench and talking to Domi and John Paddock. Domi last year in the season series against Vancouver had 58 penalty minutes in 4 games.
See, Ty Domi's just going to get thrown out of the game if he keeps up right now. And you can see that John Paddock wasn't very pleased with him at all, because there he goes to the penalty box to start the game out. He's going to end up with a 10-minute misconduct. Down here.
So Domi in the box to start the period. Winnipeg has a power play for the first minute of this period. And you get the feeling the gloves could be coming on. A lot of talking going on. And these two teams played it tough against one another last year, and the real flashpoint in this game, literally the finish flash, Timo Selanne was hammered by Mike Pekka coming through the neutral zone in the first period. Selanne has not returned. He is nowhere to be seen, not on the bench, not on the ice. He was visibly woozy getting up after the hit. Here comes Gelinas trying to cut in. By the way, Vancouver leading the game 3-0. But a totally different game going on just underneath the surface. A game of intimidation. Here's Jamnov. Up to Steen. He'll bank it in. And a penalized player back on. Trevor Linden comes out. The teams are at even strength. Newman up there. Gets it up around back of the net. Manson shoots. McLean the save. Rebound in front. Karlov was right there. Centers it. Shamrock with a chance. That's knocked away. And here come the Canucks. Linden rumbling down the wing. Leeman and Selanne going to the front of the net. Score! Jeff Brown takes it downtown for the second time tonight, and it's 4-0 Vancouver.
Watch Jamnov's chance first. Jamnov ends up getting the puck back into the slot, and he's got to bear down. He's got to bury it right up in that top corner. He didn't get it off quickly enough, and he didn't really bear down. Then the puck came right back, and that's what happens so often. You get your opportunity, you don't capitalize, and someone else does. Brown just raced in on that right wing side. Let her go. Jeff Brown had 4 shots in the first period, and we talked about the big guys needing to get going. Jeff Brown got going.
And you know who didn't get going for Winnipeg? The big guys. Tkachuk, Selanne, Steen, 0 shots on goal between them. Brown gets his second goal of the game. Vancouver is 4th. Linden picks up an assist at 1:26. And Martin Selanne also picks up an assist in that goal. 4-0 Vancouver on top. We are early in the second period. Kirk McLean just plays it up off the boards. Grosek moves it up. High shot just grabbed by McLean. He'll hang on to it.
Chris King and Tim Hunter were out there battling away, and here we go.
Of battles, pick your favorite. This is Ojekir with Manson, and Hunter trying to lay a few.
These two have duked it out many times before. This is nothing new.
Couple of heavyweights.
Linesmen were quick to get Chris King already to the penalty box. We haven't seen the end of this kind of hockey tonight.
Has Mike Pekka been on the ice since that big hit?
Not yet.
That's when things could really erupt as they get set to take the team photo for the Winnipeg Jets over in the penalty box.
Domi yelling at Hunter. That's all Domi can do right now because he's not in position to do anything else.
You know the job I wouldn't want to have right now? The guy working the clock right in between those two penalty boxes. Could be one of those nights on the NHL tonight.
Those 2 all-beef patties.
Thomas, 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 and Thomas. I'll connect you.
That special sauce.
Thomas and Sons. One moment.
McDonald's Big Mac.
The Thomases.
It's so tempting.
Tom's.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Hi, Judy. Any calls?
Things will pick up after lunch.
Now, we extend our unexcelled level of superior quality and reliable service to North American coverage. Now, Reimer expedites your vital shipments to and from all points in Canada and the continental United States. It's new, it's better, superior service at competitive cost. Call Reimer Express Lines.
Full house, not in the Coliseum here because there's lots of empty seats, but there are no empty seats in the penalty box right now. And a lot of it is because of the incident in the first period. Timo Selanne is still in the dressing room feeling woozy because of that hit. Timo Selanne didn't have the puck. Mike Pekka ran him over.
And Pekka has also not returned. I don't think it's because he was shaken up in the play. Offsetting penalties. Ojik and Hunter pick up 2 for roughing, 5 for fighting. Ojik the 2, Hunter the 5, and then on the Winnipeg side, King picks up 2 for roughing, Manson picks up 5 for fighting. So offsetting, and Vancouver leads 4-0, 17:28 to go in the second period.
Well, somewhere in all of this, the Winnipeg Jets have got to think about trying to score some goals here. And again, as I mentioned at the end of the first, you can't all of a sudden focus on Mike Pekka. You've got to worry about the scoreboard. Take the Pekka incident in stride right now and everyone play a little bit more aggressively, yeah. But they're down 4-0.
Wilkinson moving up. Eagles trying to battle in front. Wilkinson comes around. Lots of traffic around Kirk McLean. Grosek looking the wraparound. McLean steers that away. Another shot. McLean stopped that. And you notice he was standing up the whole time. Here's Steen. Shoots, scores! Oh! Steen knocked it in and then gets knocked along the boards. And that draws a crowd.
Merzen got put down. But the Winnipeg Jets do finally get on the scoreboard. Not without getting roughed up for doing it. Sergio Momesso knows that he's going to have to be battling before this game is out. All of the protectors on the Canucks are in for a long night right now. Thomas Steen really picked not the short side. He found some room between the pads of Kirk McLean. McLean had his feet spread apart just enough for that puck to trickle in. Thomas Steen not from a great angle, but boy, watch this. The pads actually were together. Where that puck went through was right down between the skates.
Just a great shot by Steen.
And something to pick the Winnipeg Jets bench up right now.
A penalty being assessed at the tail of the goal. Brent Thompson, number 22, heads to the box. And he picks up the roughing penalty.
The time of the goal, 2:59. Steen is third of the season from Grosek and Eagles at 2.
Grosek and Eagles pick up the assist on Steen's goal.
Number 22, Brent Thompson, 2 minutes for roughing.
So Vancouver on the power play.
Thompson for roughing.
4-1, Vancouver leading. And lots of time to go in the second period. Brown is pulled down as he works it in. Here's Newman up along the boards, and Drake will get it down the ice. Here's Leeman.
Courtnall just got hit by Ulanoff.
Puck cleared in. Linden moving up there after it. Steals the puck. Tried to get it out to Ronning, who was right behind him. Here's Linden. Back out for Leeman. Couldn't keep it into the line. 1:15 to go in the power play for Vancouver. McLean will play it way up to Brown. Ronning, Courtnall, and Linden all flood in over the line. Linden goes to the front of the net. Courtnall drills it, and Howie Meeker will hang on.
And Keith Tkachuk would like to run everyone in a white sweater right now, right out of this rink. Courtnall was upset because he got hacked from behind by Ulanoff, right in the neutral zone. He didn't have the puck, and he's still complaining about it. I would suggest, I guess, that both teams, at every stoppage in play, you can bet that will be major huddles.
Well, hockey's a great game to watch on TV, but this is one of those games where you wish you were in the arena, because that way you can watch the whole ice surface. And I tell you, there is a lot going on away from the puck, an awful lot. Puck comes back, Jelena smokes it in there, and Howie Meeker pounces on top of that.
Howie Meeker was pretty quick on his feet, but the guy that has been doing damage to the Jets has been Jeff Brown. That puck was kicked right back to Brown. Brown just teed it up and let her go pretty quickly. Abby Poulin just, with the greatest of ease, was flying through the air to pounce on that puck himself.
Adams up in the face-off. Leeman and Momesso on the wings. Lume and Brown back at the blue line. Don't fire till you see the whites of his eyes. And they're getting in close to try to load up against Abby Poulin. 55 seconds left of the Vancouver power play. Brown over to Lume, shoots into the corner. Momesso up there after it. Lume in from the line. 45 seconds to go on the power play. Lume centers it, and Leeman had that one tipped up over the glass.
You can see that last shot from the point that Momesso was able to just deflect that puck once again. Not a good one on the net, but Momesso went to the net, and no Winnipeg Jet again was trying to forcefully move him out of there. Momesso, who last year ended up with 4 power play goals, you know why he got them? Because of where he was. Go to the net, stand in front, deflect those pucks, screen the goaltenders up for rebounds, makes it a pretty simple game.
Sergio saying 2 guys who really influenced his career early on, Larry Robinson and Bob Gainey. And you can see traces of their game in his at times. .42 seconds still to go in the man advantage for Vancouver. And Ulanov had some room, gets it down the ice. 30 seconds left in the man advantage. Vancouver with the power play into 4-1 lead. Lume moves it up, and the wires got crossed up there. Adams couldn't make much more progress than the blue line. Here's Lume, and he'll rush it up to center. Gets it up to Adams, flying down the right side. Tried to cut in, had the puck knocked away. Ulanov got his stick on it. Now it's in front for Brown. He gets it over. Leeman almost buried it. Here's Adams. Leeman closing in to help out. Momesso moving up. Ulanov got an unfavorable bounce. He's right over on top of it. This time he gets it out. Penalized player is back on. Tkachuk gets it up to Emerson. Back for Tkachuk. Lume poked it away. And he'll just clear it in and head to the bench. A long shift for that line. Here's McIntyre. Gets it up and ahead. Little battle going on back out near center ice.
Uh-oh. Now we've got Mercer and Tkachuk going at it.
And away they go.
Slager and Emerson were initially going to go at it.
That's Mercer. He's landing a right and another right. And Tkachuk's battling back. And now Tkachuk gets his licks in.
Oh, I think but one of those rights really hurt Mercer. He went down. He dropped. But he's a tough character, and he's right back up again. Meanwhile, the linesmen were quick to push Emerson into the penalty box so that he and Slager didn't get into it anymore. Tkachuk had just gotten out of the penalty box only a few minutes ago, and he's right back in.
Oh, the 2 captains, Linden and Tkachuk, could spend a lot of time in the box tonight before it's all said and done. They already have.
And Ty Domi isn't out of the penalty box for another 4 minutes and 34 seconds. Watch how it all started. See that Slager and Emerson were going at it. Tkachuk came in to take over, and that's when Merson said, "Oh no, you and I are going to go at it, buddy boy." Tkachuk was a man that was possessed tonight after Timo Selanne went down with the big body check by Pekka. And so Tkachuk was quick to get a couple of punches in before Merson really got any.
Timo Selanne has not returned to the game, but very interesting that Mike Pekka hasn't either, Gary. And you're a former coach in the NHL. What do you make of that move? Pekka wasn't hurt, he just didn't bring him back.
I can't figure it out, Paul, because first of all, Mike Pekka is a feisty little guy. He's not a tough guy, but the way that he's been playing has been pretty tough. I don't think that he was injured. It didn't appear to be that way. Very unlikely likely that the coach would just say, you're going to get beat up whenever you go out on the ice, so just stay in the dressing room. I don't know why he's not out there, but we're going to try to find that out.
Tkachuk picks up 5 for fighting. Emerson picks up 2 for rounding, and here we go right off the draw. King and Ojek, and they throw him.
Well, the fans here in Vancouver have been waiting for Big Ojek to get going this year, start playing tougher. And how can you pack any more into these penalty boxes? You know, they make them small for a reason, Paul, so that they're uncomfortable and players won't want to go in there.
Well, he hasn't scored tonight. He didn't have a shot on goal before he left the game after being crunched by Mike Pekka. And that was the match that lit the fuse, and it is burning right down to the powder keg as we speak.
Well, that was just simply premeditated because there wasn't any exchange of sticks.
Linden cuts in, shoots. Howie Bullen with a nice stretch to stop that one. Vancouver leading 4-1. Ojek and King pick up offsetting 5-minute fighting majors. Linden clearing it in. Cordnell down into the corner. Korolev watching him. Cordnell looking in front. He's got Linden there. Centered it out in front. Linden couldn't get his stick on it. He's got it now. Linden to Cordnell. Howie Bullen will play it. Drake looking for it. Linden gets it loose. Cordnell trying to get away. Wilkinson. Puck comes out. Here's Linden. Trying to step around Thompson. Linden just battling his way in front. That's strength.
Just with one arm, he was able to hold off Big Brent Thompson and go to the net and throw that puck out in front.
Now Didick will clear it in. Vancouver changing him up. Leeman, Lume, Ronning come over the boards. Momesso's out there as well. He'll close in on Grosek along the boards. Grosek gets it to Steen. Newman shooting. Ronning darting in there to pick it up. Hey, don't speak now, but we've got a few minutes without a penalty, Gary. Only a few.
Won't last long.
Here's Eagles. Ulanoff down into the corner. And Leeman just clears it out. Momesso and Newman. This is Newman. Even Howie Bullen getting into the act. Had the little hack at Momesso as he cruised through the crease. Icing called on Winnipeg. Well, we're in the West, and this is a Western shootout.
Last time we tried this, Teller didn't release himself on time. Not enough motivation. So this time, we're going to try incredible new Diet Pepsi. It's like no Diet Cola ever. If Teller doesn't hurry, he won't get that uncompromising cola taste. 3, 2, 1 calorie that tastes like a million. New Diet Pepsi. All the taste you're after. See? He just needs the proper incentive.
Well, Dave Manson is now out of the penalty box because before the Jets had really run out of tough guys on their lineup. There you see Chris King, Ty Domi, and Tkachuk all in the penalty box. Manson made sure that when he came out of the penalty box, he didn't get involved in any verbal battles because right now, John Paddock needs him on the ice.
.12:23 to go in the second period. 4-1, the Vancouver Canucks leading. And it has been a tough one. was all sparked back in the first period. Mike Pekka had a whale of a hit on Timo Selanne right at center ice. Selanne was nowhere near the puck, and that really seemed to stir the ire.
Oh, and it seems as though, Paul, we've played a whole game already, and we've only played half of one.
Puck back to Brown. He's got a pair of goals in this game for Vancouver. Here comes Neil Wilkinson. Up off the boards. Jamnov after it. Korolev going for the front of the net. Here's Jamnov looking around. Drake moving in there as well. Jamnov. He was swarmed there, and Lume takes it away. Here comes Adams. Jelena following up, but Jamnov wraps him up. Here's Brown. Shoots. He just misses getting the hat trick. A breath away. Here's Korolev back the other way. That's knocked down. Jelena with Brown. Big chance and a stop. Rebound knocked away.
There's battles going on behind the puck. There's breakaways. The scoring opportunities galore. What a game we all of a sudden have here.
Plavsic moves it up. Happy Bullen out to play it. He's going to take a breather.
Yeah, but the breather might just mean another fight or something right now. Tim Hunter was on the ice. Eagles was. And Manson and Hunter having some words. Again. Happy Bullen's got to wonder what's going on tonight. Jelena was in all alone. It was a 2-on-0. Don't see a lot of those in the National Hockey League. Paul, not anymore. But in this game, we're going to see a lot of or a little bit of everything yet still in this game.
And just prior to that, Brown missed the hat trick just by about half an inch. Happy Bullen kicks that away. Fired in, score! Makes it 5-1 for Vancouver.
And the Canucks are finally giving their fans something to really get excited about tonight. Happy Bullen was way out to his left. Was just way too long at getting back and getting into position before Hunter got the puck, and Hunter just seemed to have forever to shoot it into the open side.
Hunter gets the goal at 9:03. And Gerald Didick picks up an assist, as does Adrian Plavsic. And the Jets back in. Jamnov trying to burrow his way in on goal. Didick working him over. Gillen up looking for it. Ronning was dumped. And here comes Ronning back out. Ronning gets it up and ahead. Leeman moving in there. He's crunched on the way through and takes the net off the peg.
Leeman looked pretty shaky to start this game out tonight, but once he got that goal, boy, he's been playing with some real confidence. He's been heading to the net because the puck has been there. He's had possession of it, taking it to the net. Done a little of everything with that puck. He made the good play here because Teppo Numminen actually kicked the puck. How Leeman was able to continue to even get it back into his possession was rather odd in itself. 76 minutes in penalties so far. Half the game is almost over.
Leeman, a free agent signing for Vancouver. He played with Montreal last year. He only played 31 games. You believe Gary Leeman's in his 13th NHL season?
Time flies, Paul, when you're having a good time.
Here's Korolev. Centers it in front of the net. Steen up there after it. He cuts in front. Almost stuffed it home. Steen has the only goal for the Jets in this game, and he almost snuck another one through there.
I think he was looking for the 5-hole again. He was really in tight on Kirk McLean.
This is Dallas Drake for Winnipeg. Digs it loose to Steen, all the way across to Korolev. Up to Steen, dropped it back. Pocket picked by Adams. He'll come up. Selanne trailing. Slager was up there too. Here's Steen. Korolev going for the front of the goal. Thompson moves up. Centers it. Korolev right in front of the net. And couldn't get a handle on it. And don't look now, but here comes Ty Domi.
Time is expired on his misconduct. And it looks as though Ty this time is going to go directly to the bench after having some instructions previously from John Paddock.
Ty picked up a 10-minute misconduct to start the second period. He was skating over during the warm-up just before the start of the period and challenging the Canucks bench. He was right over yapping at Coach Rick Lee.
Ty Domi thought that he was going to stay out on the ice, but all of a sudden John Paddock pulled him back.
Linden's played a tough game. He's had his nose right in there, as he always does. Has a couple of assists. Here comes Courtnall. Linden's up there. This tipped it to the corner. Courtnall out high in the slot. Hunter's up there trying to work it loose. Here's Courtnall. Shoots it in front. Hunter tried to play it back. That's broken up, and here comes Grosek. Off to Jamnov, crisscrossing in over the line. Eagles going for the front of the net. Jamnov rings it up around the boards. Manson moves up after it. Plavsic getting it up.
Jamnov almost put Courtnall right over the boards into the Jet bench.
Here's Plavsic given a bump by Grosek. Newman in back at the line, but Steen couldn't get it to him. King finds a bit of room, finds a bit more, trying to center it in front. That was poked away.
King got hacked from behind by Plavsic.
And Ty Domi comes out onto the ice, and play is called. And he skates by and has a few words to Adrian Plavsic. We'll continue the Domi watch when we come back.
Last time we tried this, Teller didn't release himself on time. Not enough motivation. So this time we're going to try incredible new Diet Pepsi. It's like no Diet Cola ever. If Teller doesn't hurry, he won't get that uncompromising cola taste. 3, 2, 1 calorie that tastes like a million. New Diet Pepsi. All the taste you're after. See? He just needs the proper incentive.
Stay tuned following tonight's game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Royal LePage.
Ty Domi, Chris King heading out onto the ice against this next Canucks line, and Momesso and Merzen are both on the ice.
Roning's out there too. He'll take the face-off for Vancouver against Thomas Steen. Leeman poised just back to Roning's left at the top of the circle. Right to Leeman. Quick shot towards the net was knocked down. Here's Thompson. Momesso with Leeman in front. Got it up to Ronning. Thompson now for Winnipeg. Here's Merzen. Momesso given a bump by King. Tried to come in. Offside is called on Vancouver. 7:38 to go in the second. Merzen up for Selanne, broken up by Newman. Adams watching him.
It was a bad pass by Merzen. He used his backhand. He tried to go all the way across the ice with it.
Here's Emerson trying to center it. Tkachuk couldn't get the pass. Nathan Lafayette clears it up. Selanne moving up after it. Newman beats him there. But Selanne sticking right to his man. Puck pounded in just wide of the net. Good shot by Slager. Brown fires it up and play is called.
Well, I tell you, Brown has just been playing a whale of a game tonight. He's just been shooting that puck every chance that he gets. And he might just start playing a lot better every game because he's got his new contract. And as mentioned earlier, it's worth about $1.8 million a year. There you can see what he's done in the past. And the Vancouver Canucks hope that he adds to this for the future because they've invested a lot of money right now in Brown's future.
I'm wondering if he's still keeping up a custom that he started last year during the playoffs. His daughter Jenna was born just before the start of the playoffs last year, and for a while, Gary, he was writing her name on the blade of his stick and then taping up the stick for good luck. He's got a couple goals tonight, so who knows?
We'll have to go down right after the game, Paul, and peel that tape right off his stick.
Brown with a couple tonight and a new contract. 6:55 to go in the second period.
Hit 7 power play goals last year, and Ricky Lee hopes that he has a lot more left in him for this year. 14 goals, 52 assists last season.
Well, we've seen one great hit tonight, although there was a penalty called when Timo Selanne was hammered by Mike Pekka. Brown was creamed the other night on Sunday when Chicago was in here. Steve Smith nailed him along the board. Similar type play. Brown wasn't really looking, and when he looked up, he saw Smith all over the viewfinder. Just like Shannon stepped into McIntyre there inside the blue line. Lume coming in, trying to work it up. Ojik going towards the front of the net. Here's McIntyre. Leeman. Ojik moving up there. Leeman with McIntyre going towards the front of the goal, and Manson really working Leeman over. Abby Boulin can't get it out. Here's Lume. Grosek trying to come away. 2-on-1. Here come the Jets. Zamnov on the way. Oda Korolev. And finally gets a weak one on goal. Zamnov with the rebound. He zipped that one wide. Here's Grosek. Kirk McLean out to play it.
Canucks getting a little sloppy in their own zone, and we've got another fight ready to happen.
Or trying to happen. Hunter trying to get loose against Neil Wilkinson. But that one was snuffed out very quickly.
Wilkinson was acquired from Chicago in June to bring the Winnipeg Jets some more toughness back in their own zone.
And that was a scrap that never even got started. The linesmen moving in very quickly. Shane Heyer and Brad Lazarowicz, the linesmen tonight, they've been busy.
The time 14-15. Wilkinson and Hunter each 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct.
And they don't even call roughing penalties. They are offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct minors.
Well, the linesmen have got a real job in their hands for the remainder of the evening. And it was interesting, we were talking to Robbie Schick, the referee who was supposed to have done tonight's game, just into the intermission, about how referees and linesmen do talk about these situations a lot in the intermission, knowing full well that they're going to have a war on their hands and how they're going to react to it.
Here's Cardinal. He's in there, and he's stopped.
That Cardinal didn't get the puck to do what he wanted it to do, but boy, did he ever break right through the middle. Right through Ulanoff and Teppo Numminen. Yeah, thumbs up for the Canucks right now, the way they've been playing tonight. Just a great feathered pass right by Trevor Linden through the middle to Courtnall, who came in from behind, and wow, Courtnall just couldn't get that puck in his total control. See, Howie Bullen has been playing further back into his net as the game's gone on. Maybe for good reason. Started off the game challenging, but got burned a few times.
Emerson trying to beat Plavsic. Loose puck right there, and right in with a great chance was Ulanoff. Numminen trying to move it back up. Canucks almost had a 2-on-0, and now Courtnall's got another breakaway. He comes in, all down, and a penalty coming up. A hooking call. Thought that might have been a penalty shot. It was
coming close to it.
On the line.
Well, just what a wide open affair we've got here now. There's no defense being played at either end of the rink. It's a little bit of a free-for-all in more ways than one. Courtnall tries to get possession of the puck, but Numminen just pulls him down. First of all, he tries to hook him around the waist, and then he decided that wasn't going to work, so he ended up putting the stick right over his left shoulder in order to pull Jeff Courtnall down.
Well, a power play coming up when we come back.
Only one real estate agent goes farther than far, strives harder than hard, and reaches higher than high. Because only Royal LePage's dedicated full-time real estate professionals believe there's one direction to aim: higher.
Oh, a wild one tonight. Closed captioning this period, courtesy UAP Napa, the Auto Parts Pros Trust, and 2,600 member installer and Auto Pro service centers right across Canada.
Well, Paul, what haven't we seen in this game so far? That's a tough one, isn't it? Got you stumped there. Yeah. Breakaways, 2-on-0s, fights. Big body checks delivered when the player doesn't have a puck.
Lots of ill will and short tempers.
No shortage of that at all. Very crowded penalty box.
And the fans that are here loving it. Lume gets it back. Brown, top of the point. Linden is
Linden
down
is
on the ice. Linden was hit, and he is laboring towards the bench as Lume wires it in.
Manson was in his vicinity.
Here's Ronnie. Over to Lume. Lume again. Up to Brown, to Lume. Shoots. Running after it. Right at the side. He couldn't chip it in, and he was decked. Lume gets it up. Courtnall drifting one on goal. Howie Bullen knocked that away. Here's Manson. Lume keeping it in. Over to Brown. Shoots. Howie Bullen fires out the pad. Here's Brown. Lume shooting. And finally the puck coming out. And Gillen will just float one up over the glass and out of play. Trevor Linden, as you mentioned, Gary, Dave Manson was in the vicinity, and Linden dropped like a ton of bricks and then labored towards the bench.
He was in big pain as he went to the bench. Almost just knocked the wind right out of him. He got cross-checked right in the back. And watch Manson right here. Manson just crossed Trevor Linden right across the back and right underneath of your shoulder blades. That'll take the wind out of you quicker than anything. Yep, Trevor just explained to all of us what happened.
Still 49 seconds left in the power play for Vancouver. A 4-on-3, which will now become a 5-on-4. As Wilkinson steps back onto the ice along with Hunter. Here comes Ronning. Momesso off the bench, going to the front of the net. Ronning was right up there. Had Momesso with him.
He caught a piece of the post there, didn't he?
He did. Puck dropped back. Tkachuk gets it in front. Thompson couldn't knock the pass down. Leeman moves it up. 15 seconds left in the power play. Leeman gets it in front. Momesso tipped it just wide. Just pushed that one wide of the net.
And Momesso was a little off balance, so he couldn't get much wood on it. He tried to direct it to the net.
Penalized player back on. Less than 3 minutes to go in the second period. 5-1 Vancouver leading. The Canucks really worked at that last power play. They had 4 shots on goal. Abby Bullen made a few nice stops. Here's Momesso. He'll pick it up. Looking in front. Lafayette moving up. Shooting! He cops it to the post. Korolev back up to the line. Korolev lets it go. Shamnov up there with it. And that's tipped up over the glass. And then amongst the spectators.
Well, this building doesn't look like there's many more than maybe 10,000 people in it tonight, but boy, they've been a noisy 10,000 for reasons such as this. Good offensive opportunities by the Canucks tonight. 5 goals so far in the game, and lots of excitement.
Manson whiffed on that one. Selanne moves it up.
Domi is out on the ice again.
.205 to go in the period. And icing called on the Canucks. Some heavyweights out there. Manson, Domi.
Well, the Canucks really don't have anybody on the ice that Ty Domi is too interested in. Hunter's already fought Merzen.
And Domi, in fact, heads right to the bench and has a seat. Merzen picking it up. Adventurous move right across in front of his own net. Selanne going to get around Manson. Lafayette and McIntyre moving up there. And King and McIntyre looking at one another. They mix it up behind the play as Lafayette tries to go in, and now King and McIntyre will drop the gloves and go. And down goes McIntyre. King lands a couple before the linesmen get in there.
King was looking for trouble. McIntyre wasn't, but McIntyre felt that he was obligated to do King a service and battle with him.
Well, they started jousting behind the play, and McIntyre stood his ground.
Here's how it started. McIntyre reaches down to go for the puck. Puck wasn't any longer in sight as King was just came barreling across, and King wanted a little bit more than the body check.
Yeah, McIntyre gave it right back to him.
McIntyre actually got the first punches.
5-minute majors for fighting. The time, 18-23.
And they pick up offsetting 5-minute fighting majors, McIntyre and King.
At 18-23.
Ty Domi's heading out onto the ice again. Last minute and 37 seconds remaining. You know, when Ty's out there right now, the only thing we're missing is the Jaws music. You need that doo-doo, doo-doo. He's just been looming around on the white ice. Ty's not interested in the puck. He was looking for Hunter. And he's trying to get Tim Hunter to fight right now, way up at the center ice line. No interest at all.
And while that battle continues, Linden battles after it. Puck comes out. Merzen with a swat at it. Up to Linden. Tkachuk bumped him. Here's Drake coming in. Domi trailing. Drake and Merzen bump. Domi moves up there. Trying to battle his way loose. And a penalty coming up. And now Tkachuk is going to go in back of the net.
With Merzen. Hunter jumps in there with Domi. Oh. Ty's just trying to edge Hunter on. I think Hunter just bit Ty Domi.
Domi just goading Hunter, rubbing his glove up in his face.
Better get these two guys away from each other. See, Hunter's had a fight, Merzen's had a fight, but Ty hasn't had one yet tonight, and he's not too happy about that. And Ty once again is just going to get shuffled off to the penalty box.
Boy, Tim Hunter was quoted earlier this week as saying, if we don't play hard, we're a below-average team. And the Canucks have sure come out and played hard tonight.
Don't trust him against us.
This all comes with 1:03 to go in the second period. Here's how this starts.
Watch. Here's how it all started. There's the initial penalty by Merzen. He ends up picking up a cross-checking penalty. Now this is how the fight ends up starting between Tkachuk and Merzen. Behind the net, Merzen gave Tkachuk a shot, and so for good reason Tkachuk just turned on Merzen and started wailing away.
Well, what a night for the referee, Don Van Massenhoven. To your left is Brad Lazarowicz, and to your right, Shane Heyer. And they've earned their stripes tonight.
They're just wishing that there was 1 minute and 3 seconds left in the game instead of just the second period.
Oh, you talk about being in shape. Obviously, the players are in great shape, but these guys don't get a rest. And can you imagine making your living on a night like tonight, pulling apart guys who are 6 feet, 6'1", 200 pounds intent on getting at one another?
And not quite sure whether at any point in time you're going to get popped right in the face as well.
What a night.
Let's go back and take a look at the beginning of Hunter and Domi here. Now watch Domi. He rubs his glove right in Hunter's face. Now watch this. Watch Hunter right at that point. I think that Domi still had Domi there. Hunter's gnawing on Ty Domi's glove. And Ty goes, he bit me. Ty Domi was looking for some reason why that should be legal.
Pass the salt.
Gino Ojic is looking from the bench.
If this is a chess match, then Gino Ojic may be one One of the chess masters pondering his next move on the big board.
Well, sometime after tonight's game, it might be tomorrow morning by the time we get to it. We are going to Sports Desk, are we, Paul?
I think so. Hang in there, Brendan. We'll get to you eventually. All the scores and highlights. That's coming up after this game. Whenever.
2 minutes for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct. To number 7, Tkachuk, 5 minutes for fighting. Vancouver penalties to number 2.
Ty Domi picks up 2 minutes for roughing plus a 10-minute misconduct. Tkachuk picks up 5 for fighting. Dana Merzen gets a cross-checking penalty plus 5 for fighting, and Tim Hunter picks up a 10-minute misconduct. And they cancel one another out, and we remain at even strength, 5 on 5. Tkachuk up there to pick it up. He'll rumble in on goal. Abby Bullen stopping that one. And Tkachuk is having words with Wilkinson
they're gonna go
as they drift up to center. And they're going to go. Wilkinson and Tkachuk.
Oh. Wilkinson was getting dragged around the ice a bit, but he came right back up for more. Went after Thompson. Well, now we've got a stick swinging incident going on right at the Canucks bench.
Gino got, as he was going by the bench, somebody from the Jets bench sprayed him with a water bottle.
And that's when Slager then got his stick up and took a chop at somebody. This has gotten very ugly.
Wilkinson, Vancouver penalty to number 29. Gino Tkachuk, each 5-minute majors for fighting. Time 19-12. Wilkinson.
Tkachuk and Wilkinson pick up offsetting 5-minute fighting majors. Well, there was a phantom water bottle sprayer down there somewhere as Tkachuk went by.
Now watch this. Ojic's going by now. Here comes the water. Oh, it was Manson. He was trying to cool Tkachuk off. No, we have seen everything. I thought we had seen everything tonight. And I asked you, what haven't we seen? We hadn't seen a water fight yet, Paul. And we just saw one.
Were you ever involved in a game like this when you were back at the bench? Anything even close? Well, this has been a wild one.
There were some pretty wild nights in Philadelphia, Paul. Wilkinson ended up taking Momesso out as Momesso was heading to the bench, or I should say to the net, but this is then how it all started with Tkachuk and Wilkinson. Tkachuk threw his glove at Wilkinson, and away they went.
Wilkinson and Manson also picking up 10-minute misconduct penalties. Jamnov gets in over the line.
Jamnov just met up with 3 Canucks, all grouped together, and there was no way he was going through them.
Here's Selanne. Leeman stepping in over the line. Leeman still with it. Up to Selanne, cutting right in front of the net. Almost stuffed that one home. 15 seconds to go in the period. Here's Leeman. That's knocked down. Korolev, long pass up ahead. Michael Grosek in over the line. Dropped it off there for Jamnov. Trying to get the shot away. He was pulled down. A penalty coming up as the period ends. Jamnov was hooked up in the play. So when the third period starts, Winnipeg will have a power play for the first 2 minutes.
Plavsic will be the man that is tagged for this. Watch, Jamnov got around him, and Plavsic just continued to lay the stick on him.
Vancouver penalty number 6.
Well,
2 minutes for
what a period, Paul.
You bet. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men for the third period? Line from the shadow. We'll head back to our shadows at NHL Control Center. Bob McKenzie and John Wells standing by. We'll also hear from Howie Meeker and Pat Quinn. It's been a wild one in the NHL tonight. More still to come.
Second period scoring summary is brought to you by Midas. For brake, exhaust, suspension, and steering service, trust your car to Midas. Brown got his second of the game to give the Vancouver Canucks a 4-0 lead. Jets' only goal from Thomas Steen, making it 4-1 at 2:59. And then one more for the Canucks, Tim Hunter from Didick, and that made it 5-1. Hunter's first of the season. Vancouver outshot Winnipeg 22-10 in the period and 38-16 through 2. Penalty minutes, well, 93 in that second period. It's been rough. Let's get back to Vancouver.
Thanks, John. At 93, a long way off the most penalty minutes in a period. You want to know, Gary, take a wild guess at the NHL record for penalty minutes in a single period of hockey, two teams.
Oh, a couple hundred penalty minutes.
372 penalty minutes in a game between LA and Philadelphia in March of 1979.
In one period, the whole game?
No, in one period. 372.
Well, in case we haven't seen it enough, we're going to show you one more time as to why this game has been the way that it's been. There's Timo Selanne cruising through the neutral zone, and he got smacked by Mike Pekka. And then Mike Pekka was having his cheek looked at on the bench, and it's suspected that he may have a cracked cheekbone. As you heard Pat Quinn say, that rumor was going through the press box here also in the second period, but there you can see that he was being attended to on the bench. That's the reason why Mike Pekka did not come back to start the second period.
And the reason we did not tell you earlier is we could not confirm that that was the injury, and you hate to go on taking into account that people have friends and family watching and talk about someone suffering a severe injury when you haven't been able to confirm it. Doing it. We'll move it up. The Jets start this period on the power play. Here comes Jamnov. Back to Korolev. Emerson down in the corner. Nelson Emerson drops it off, but that's promptly picked up by Jeff Brown. Korolev clears it back up. Brown gets another whack at it. This time he gets it down the ice. 5-1, the Canucks lead. Vancouver looking to pick up its first home ice victory of the season.
Well, I would expect that John Paddock spent some time with his team in the intermission, getting them thinking about getting back into this hockey game, because the Vancouver Canucks really ended up giving some major giveaways in their own end zone in the second period, so there is still an opportunity for the Jets to come back.
Offside called on Winnipeg, and Alexei Jamnov and Jurge Leeman, two unlikely combatants, had a few words and a couple of glares.
Well, it's someone like Jamnov that's going to have to take over in this third period. He had 5 shots on net for John Paddock's team in last night's game in Edmonton. 12 assists coming into tonight's game. The guy they call the Russian Redhead. He's second in the National Hockey League, as you see, in assists.
Was tops in the team last year with 45 assists. Here's Steen. Thompson will tip it in. Dallas Drake trying to get loose up there, number 18. Steen tried to get it to Eagles. Here's Drake looking for it. 30 seconds left in the power play for Winnipeg. Here's Thompson. Eagles is parked right down in front of Kirk McLean. Dallas Drake gets it in front. Steen with a shot. And Leeman will get it down the ice.
Brown definitely had his man. Eagles was parked in front, and Brown was right on.
Here comes Drake. Eagles was going towards the front of the net. He parks right there at the edge of the crease again, and he will battle with Leeman this time. Here's Thompson. Steen drops it down. Penalized player steps back on. The team's all even up. Steen got a piece of Leeman. Now he's got the puck. Looking around, throws it back. Moving up. Ulanov rifled it in on goal. Solid stop by McLean. And Adrian Plavsic will start back now. Let's go! Plavsic just rolling it down into Winnipeg territory and doubling back to the bench. Both teams change him up. So Thompson with a bit of time, but almost coughed that up to Courtnall. Momesso's up there. Ian Grosick along the boards. Linden was right in front. Nelson Emerson steers it up. Schlager back there, bats it.
Well, we'll see, Paul, whether or not we got the goofiness all cleaned up from the second period. And these two teams may stick to playing hockey in this third. But don't hold your breath.
Won't be holding. Talking to Andy Murray, the Winnipeg assistant coach, one of their assistants earlier today. He talked about how well the Jets have been playing in the third period of games lately. So a good third period would be in order if they want to come back in this one. Down 5-1. Linden dumped there in front of the Winnipeg net. Here's Shannon. Leeman. Eagles up to watch him. Long pass up ahead and over a couple of lines. Offside called on Vancouver. 16:29 to go in the third on Molson NHL tonight.
Kathy and Dr. Mom.
Hey, if you're watching on closed captioning tonight, you've had to do a lot of reading to keep up with the penalty minutes. Closed captioning courtesy of Appalato Glass this period with exclusive bond for life installations guaranteed safer by 130 apples coast to coast. Ulanov clears it in for Winnipeg. Teams at even strength. 16:20 to go in the third period. 5-1. Vancouver is leading Winnipeg. Winnipeg coming into this game undefeated in its last three. And Vancouver winless in its last three. And still without a victory at home this year heading into this contest. Did it back there to touch it. Icing called on Winnipeg.
Well, let's take a little review here for a moment. Look at the penalties in tonight's game. You see the number of majors for both teams. Misconduct. Winnipeg are leading that. And right now, the Winnipeg Jets are winning the penalty minute race for tonight's game. 70-64.
134 is the quick adding job there. Penalty minute race, so a long way off the NHL record for most penalty minutes in a game, which is 406.
I don't think the league plans on seeing any records broken in those from those years, Paul.
No. Although surprisingly, that record was set in 1981, long after the golden era, if you want to call it that, of the Broad Street Bullies and Goon hockey. Expect a lot of those records to have been set back in the mid-70s. Here's Lafayette coming up. Selanne going for the front of the net. Lafayette rolls it across. Plavsic moving up after it. They try to scrum it loose.
Selanne has played a very alert game tonight. He's been flying out there, heading to the net.
Plavsic would just pop there by King. And here's Selanne cranking it up. Little room up the middle, or he makes some room coming up there with Trevor Linden as he dumps it in. Ulanov puts it up around the boards. Canucks making a few changes in the go as Steen comes out. Eagles joins him up there on the chase, and Eagles will head in after it. Brown gets there first and just pulled away from Eagles.
Great agility by Brown.
He just twisted the other way on a dime, and here comes Linden rumbling in on goal, shoots, and Howie Meeker hangs on to that.
So Brown has had an outstanding game for the Vancouver Canucks tonight, and he has been alert as well, but his agility on this maneuver was just great. Eagles was trying to get a piece of the body, but Brown just zigged and then zagged, went and reversed the flow.
Well, and a few times tonight we've seen Trevor Linden do this, just strength going to the net.
Shannon was having great difficulties in holding Trevor Linden off.
Brown fires it in. Brown has a pair in this game and has had a few opportunities to get the hat trick. Here's Linden. Gets it to Courtnall, trying to twist away from Wilkinson. Centers it. Leeman is right there, and the light does not come on. Leeman gets knocked down. Howie Bullen again took one of those little peeks over the shoulder. He wasn't quite sure.
Well, Thompson was trying to keep track of Gary Leeman, and Thompson got a little upset because once he went to Leeman, to the right of Howie Bullen, he ended up falling down. Got him a little bit angry. From that point onwards, he just stayed right with Leeman. And once again, right to the end, he stayed with him, put him down, gave him a little shot. Leeman didn't take too kindly to that. But as you can see, Thompson was very quick to take a look as to who was coming in.
Wilkinson comes up to center. Emerson was leading him there at the line.
Look at that stick handling by Wilkinson all the way through the neutral zone. Emerson was standing back looking at it as well, hoping that he might get the puck out of the deal.
Well, with all due respect to Neil, if there's a night where Wilkinson was going to go coast to coast, this would be it, because it's been one of those games. Neil Wilkinson not normally noted for that aspect of the game. Momesso gets it in front. There's Leeman, and he is stoned by Howie Bullen.
Drake and Gillen were just confused on that breakout pattern. Drake got the puck, then gave it back to Gillen, but Gillen wasn't quite expecting it. Gillen is 3 games away from playing that magical 400. Gave once again Gary Leeman the opportunity. Leeman has had plenty of offensive chances tonight. That was the breakout pattern that just didn't exist. Leeman was very cleverly parked right out into the slot.
Here comes Tkachuk. McLean just drops it off. And this is McIntyre up to Nathan Lafayette. McLean and McIntyre both moving around. McIntyre in back in the net, battling away. Ulanov up to Jamnov. He and Tkachuk come to the line. Tkachuk takes the pass. Jamnov goes towards the front of the net. Kirk McLean bats that away, and Didick will clear it back out. 13:15 to play in the third period. It is 5-1, Vancouver leading Winnipeg. King backs in over the line. There's Dana Merzen.
He just slammed Thompson right into the boards.
And we'll see what follows. King comes over and gives Merzen a bit of a bump, although not quite as forceful.
I'm sure that was for Thompson roughing up Leeman a few shifts ago.
Pass up intended for King. He and Slager go into the corner. Slager and King bumping. And Courtnall on the way. Ojik and Linden with him as they come to the line. Rising shot there from Courtnall. Shannon hands it away. Courtnall trying to loft it in on goal. Ojik was mixing it up with Steen back behind the play. This is Wilkinson tucking it down into the corner. Grossa couldn't catch up to it. Icing waved off, so Howie Bullen will play it all the way up to Wilkinson. Emerson looking for it. Eagles up there too. He bumped with Momesso. Here comes Gillen. Shoots. Emerson couldn't knock down the rebound. Wilkinson fires it in. That's stopped by McLean. puck cleared up over the glass and out of play. That shot only the 19th on goal of the game for Winnipeg.
Not just anyone, for all, for wandering into an understandable world where I find everywhere we're going together. Why? Because I am.
In the southwest corner of the Pacific
More hockey tomorrow night. The Victoriaville Tigre against the Sherbrooke Faucon. Quebec Major Junior Hockey League action. Starting at 7:30 Eastern Time. Gord Miller and Ryan Walter will have all the action for you on the CHL tonight.
Well, Timo Selanne injured in the first period. 12 fighting majors. 12 fighting majors really as a result of Timo Selanne being injured. But remember, Mike Pekka was injured on that play as well as they collided. Jeff Brown has had a great game tonight. And for some, this has just been a little too long of a game.
Seen one fight, seen them all, eh, buddy? $11:38 to go in the third period. Puck comes back. Ulanov trying to get it in on goal. A real crowd to put it through, and he couldn't. Here comes Selanne, wheeling it up. Selanne looking in front. He's got Brown up there with him, who is looking for the hat trick. Lafayette goes after him. Pulled away from him. Leeman gets it in back in the net. Ulanov clears it out. Lume back to pick it up. No icing in the play. Here's Eagles swinging into the corner.
Lume goes down along with the referee.
Even the referee getting hit tonight. Don Van Massenhoven couldn't get out of the way quickly enough. Brown fires it in. Howie Meeker steers that to the corner. Canucks and the Jets both change them up. 10:45 to go, third period. Shots on goal 44-19 for Vancouver, and they lead the game 5-1. Ulanov chopping at it. Leeman knocks it down. He's at the line with Momesso. Shoots it. Just missed. Here's Thompson. And Drake is on the way. Dallas Drake gets it across to Zhamnov. Korolev going towards the front of the net. Here's Shannon up there. Bouncing one in. Zhamnov leaping into the corner after it. Zhamnov still. And finally poked off the stick by the persistent Sergio Momesso. Up ahead to Adams now. He'll cut in. Howie Meeker stopped him. This is Steen on the way back. Up to Keith Tkachuk. And couldn't hang on to the pass. Had Dana Merson to contend with as well. Ulanov bats it back in. Jets had to clear the zone on the delayed offside. Here's Merson. Up to Courtnall. Oja couldn't knock it down. Fans starting to get up a Gino Oshie chant.
I think Rick Lee has probably got a defense chant going.
Ulanov and Slager get tangled up. Krosik up there, bumped by Courtnall. Tkachuk trying to center it in front. Here's Tkachuk still to Steen. Off the boards, Kirk McLean just plays it right back to the corner.
Ulanov just flicked the stick right out of Mersen's hands, and it just went flying right up into the neutral zone. Mersen was pretty upset with that.
And icing called to the Canucks. 8:44 to go. You're watching the NHL tonight at TSN.
They're the world's fastest guns.
Everyone calls me the Kid.
Playing the deadliest game in the West.
I now declare the quick draw competition open.
Sign me up.
Sure must want to die young, miss.
Say that again.
TriStar Pictures presents Sharon Stone.
I challenge you. Ooh, bad idea.
Gene Hackman.
You're dead!
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Hey, my man.
The Quick and the Dead. At theaters now.
Our next game, Monday night, Chicago Blackhawks in Toronto to play the Leafs. Leafs with a wild one last night against Dallas. Don't know if you saw the highlights. Dying seconds. Matt Sundin tucked home the tying goal for Toronto. We'll see what awaits us on Monday. Hope you can join us.
Well, the Chicago Blackhawks have sure been playing well lately. They've been good defensively, but boy, have they become a scoring machine.
Well, only 10,630 here tonight. The worst attendance yet for Vancouver. They're going to win their first home game tonight by the looks of it, but it's just been terrible.
Well, at least in tonight's game, the Canucks have given their fans something to get excited and cheer about. Maybe that will continue.
Ulanov trying to get it in front. Here's Leeman.
Bang and crash line out there now for the Jets. Gillen has replaced Eagles.
Here's Lafayette. Gillen moves it up. Ty Domi. Brown knocks that away. Here comes Nathan Lafayette. Weaves his way across the line. Offside called. Jelena was a stride ahead on the left side. Talked about the Vancouver Canucks attendance situation, Gary. The Jets, of course, facing similar problems. They want to get a new building. They've had the site approved tentatively by the city where they're going to build the building. I don't think the actual building of the building has been approved yet. But an interesting quote coming from NHL Commissioner John Ziegler, pardon me, Gary Bettman. And he said, if there's no new building in Winnipeg and the team is averaging 8,000 or 9,000 fans, we shouldn't knock ourselves out trying to save them. And he made that comment to the Winnipeg, one of the Winnipeg newspapers. Here comes Eagles. Manson. And Diddick will wait for his mates to get onside. Here comes Leeman. Leeman again. 7.5 minutes to go. Wilkinson brings that in. Eagles moving up after it. Momesso out to Leeman. And both teams make a few more changes in the go as things flow along here in the third period after a very long second period. Here's Shannon. Thompson gets it up. Hunter taps at it. Pass up to Hunter. Hunter up to the line, dishes off to Linden. Linden trying to get around on Shannon, but Shannon got enough of him. Tkachuk is open up the middle and the pass behind him. And icing is called on Winnipeg.
Well, someone who wishes they were behind the Canucks bench tonight, the trainer of the Vancouver Canucks, Larry Ashley, who just got out of the hospital today. And Larry, from all of us at TSN and from all the hockey fans across the country, hope you're back behind the bench real soon. I don't think for the Canuck players this game can end any too soon. Still 6 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in it. It has been a long one tonight.
No scoring in the third period. Linden gets it to Courtnall. Courtnall will move up, shoots. That was blocked, didn't make it through. Ulanov going after it. And here's Tkachuk. Almost got a breakaway a moment ago. He gets one now, and he's stopped by McLean.
just chuckles at himself. Kirk McLean stood him up, stayed in front of that puck. But it was a great play by Tkachuk, who just took right off after a neat pass right up to the red line. Tkachuk got in behind the Canucks defense and then looked for a place to put it by Kirk McLean. You can see Kirk McLean came way out, challenged him, and just got his body in front of that shot.
Lafayette moves it up. Selanne with Brown moving up on the left side. Here's Wilkinson up to Manson. And Leeman just fires it back down the ice. Dave Manson skates back. 5 minutes, 45 seconds to play in the third period. 5-1. Vancouver are leading Winnipeg. Grosek going after it. Drops it back. King forging his way in towards the net. He's got it again. Steen is in front. Grosek as well. Now Steen coming over to help out. He and Leeman battle away. Grosek moves in. There's nobody in front. And King and McIntyre mix it up back behind the play.
They went out before, and King just ran McIntyre right into the corner.
Here's Manson shooting. That was a high shot. Caught McLean up high in the chest.
King was heading to the net too, and that's a little dangerous when your defense all of a sudden whistles a shot by your ears.
And McIntyre just clears it down the ice. No icing. And both teams seizing the opportunity to make player changes. 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the third period. 5-1 Vancouver leading. They have outshot Winnipeg 45-21. Here's Adams. Manson out to center. Has Drake up to his left and gets it to him. Drake going in. Nelson Emerson going towards the front of the net. Gillen is up there as well. Emerson in back of the goal. Plavsic over to check him. Momesso couldn't get away. Under 4 minutes to go. Momesso comes up, but Adams was caught in there offside. He lost his balance and couldn't get out.
Can't fake smooth. Easy going. Natural. Smooth. Unrestricted.
Well, join us afterwards on TSN for Sports Desk. Brendan Connor, all the scores and highlights. There'll be a few from this game.
A few highlights, a few lowlights, a little of everything tonight.
Some might call them lowlights. It's been a scrappy one.
That's an interesting line. Ty Domi's going out with Jamnov and Korolev.
Timo Selanne was hammered with an open ice hit in the first period from Mike Pekka. Both players have left the game. Selanne was shaken up. No report on.
Watch Domi and Hunter. Ty Domi hasn't had a fight yet tonight, and he's not too happy about it.
And he's trying like crazy to get a Hunter, but now he's going after Trevor Linden. And this is going to erupt as everybody moves in.
Trevor Linden stepped right in between Tim Hunter and Ty Domi.
And then Domi started hammering away at Linden. And that's Hunter along the boards.
The skates are the most dangerous part of what's happening out there right now. For some reason, we've got way too many guys on a pile all fighting.
And Domi just cannot get at Hunter. That was his target.
With Shannon.
That's Daryl Shannon with Jeff Cordnell. And Jeff Cordnell takes a few shots and now tries to get in a few of his own.
Chris King off the Winnipeg bench tried to take a long shot with his arm at Cordnell as he went by. I think Hunter had been sent to the dressing room, but as you can see, he's a long ways from there.
Well, just as they were rounding the clubhouse turn, it looked as though they were going to sneak out of the third period with no more scraps breaking out. 3:41 to go. And away we went. Ty Domi was determined to get into a scrap with that man, Tim Hunter. Trevor Linden stepped in to intervene, and Domi went after the closest target, who was Linden, and away we went.
And Manson's asking the linesman right now why Tim Hunter is still standing on the bench. And screaming at that. Thompson goes to the dressing room, and underneath of these people standing watching what's going on out in the ice, I'm sure there'll be a few more verbal battles and exchanges as the players go off to the dressing room.
I have a feeling it'll be a very quiet flight to St. Louis tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. A lot of ice packs.
Everyone will be talking about this game for quite some time in this city, and you can see the fans trying to explain to each other how these fights happen. Trevor Linden really got slugged a couple of good times, though, by Ty Domi. Watch just to the right of your screen. Right off the bat, Hunter and Domi were about to go at it, and for some reason Trevor Linden jumped right in. Now watch. Ty Domi slugged Trevor Linden a couple of times. Trevor Linden had buckled under.
Well, lost in all of this. Some very nice stops by Nikolai Habibulin at times tonight. He stopped a couple of breakaways. A few nice pad saves.
Just doubt somewhat that Habibulin's ever seen a team like this before.
I was playing last year back in his native Russia with the Red Army team. Had a great year there last year, actually. Probably didn't see anything like this.
3 minutes and 41 seconds remaining. I mean, obviously this game is way out of hand in more ways than one. The Canucks with a comfortable 5-1 lead. What more can happen? But for Rick Lee, a 5-1 lead A win takes a lot of pressure off of the coaching staff. The other thing that a game like this does, Paul, is it really brings both teams together, because both teams have had to stick up for each other, watch each other's backs right from the first period. And that has, believe it or not, some great abilities at pulling the team together. And so for both of these clubs who were in real need of something positive, well, the Jets don't get anything positive from points tonight, but certainly as a team, they did pull together to come to Timo Selanne's cause.
By the way, if you want to plan early, the next meeting between these two teams is February the 22nd here in Vancouver. They don't hook up in Winnipeg until March the 14th.
Is that 13 days from now? That will still, I'm sure, be fresh in their minds, even though both teams will play a number of games between now and then. It doesn't get any easier. As we mentioned earlier, the Winnipeg Jets are chartering off right away to play the St. Louis Blues on Saturday, and the Blues will be licking their wounds from tonight's game. They'll be hungry.
Winnipeg heads to St. Louis. They play the Blues Saturday, then they play the Dallas Stars on Monday in Dallas. The Canucks, meanwhile, have a home-and-home coming up with San Jose. They host the Sharks here on Saturday and travel to San Jose next Wednesday.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, one of the Jets' difficulties right now is that in this Central Division, they haven't been able to score enough goals, and they've been allowing too many in. You know that there are only 9 teams in the league right now, Paul, that have scored more than 3 goals a game, and then last year, after 84 games, there were 19. It's been a very defensive league so far, but in the Central Division, they've had 5 out of those 9 teams in the whole league that have had more than 3 goals scored 4 in a game. It's pretty amazing. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that everyone in the Central Division are trying to retool in order to beat the Detroit Red Wings, who are offensive giants.
.341 to go as we go down the shopping list of penalties.
And a game misconduct. The time of the penalties, 16-19.
Hunter picks up 5 minutes in a game.
Penalties at 16.
Trevor Linden picks up 5 minutes.
5 minutes for fighting in a game misconduct.
And Jeff Courtnall picks up 5 minutes in a game.
5 minutes fighting in a game misconduct. Winnipeg at 20.
And for Winnipeg, Ty Domi picks up 2 minutes for instigating, 5 minutes for fighting, plus a game misconduct. Brent Thompson picks up 5 in a game, and Daryl Shannon picks up 5 in a game.
Now let's go to John Wells right now, Paul.
All right, Gary, while they tally everything up in Vancouver, let's run down the NHL scoreboard from a busy night. There was hockey elsewhere without much fighting. Florida wins over Philadelphia. 2 straight shutouts for the Philadelphia Flyers.
And 7 periods of scoreless hockey for the Flyers. Unbelievable. And they traded leading scorer today.
Pittsburgh Penguins keep it rolling. McEachran leads the way in this one. The Penguins are unbeaten in 10 in a 5-2 victory over the Islanders.
Just for your information, the NHL record for best unbeaten streak from the start of the season, 15 games, belongs to the Edmonton Oilers of the glory years. Pittsburgh going for that.
Devils win a big one over the New York Rangers. Only 1 goal for the Rangers for Noonan, Lemieux, Holik, Chorsky, and Niedermayer score for Jersey. 5-0 Chicago over St. Louis. Anaheim losing to Calgary 5-1. And Wendell Clark leads the way to a 4-3 win for Quebec over Boston.
All right, thanks, John. 3:40 to go here. Vancouver with a 5-1 lead over Winnipeg. Vancouver will snap a 3-game winless streak. Momesso trying to dig it loose to Leeman. Adams steps up there after it. Back to Brown. Up to Adams. Momesso gets it across in front. Howie Meeker sprawling makes the stop on Gary Leeman.
Well, Howie Meeker has let in 4 goals tonight, but he hasn't played all that badly. He hasn't had A lot of help in front of them at times. Not that there haven't been blue sweaters there, but they haven't been overly aggressive at taking the man, and there was a pretty good example of Newman being a little late at getting out to Leeman, and Howie Meeker having to make a big comeback save. Got to give him credit for battling away there tonight. 2 early goals. John Paddock pulled him, put Cheveldae in. One was scored against Cheveldae, and Howie Meeker was put right back into the game. Even if there hadn't been one scored on Cheveldae, Howie Meeker looked as though he was coming back in anyway.
Here's Leeman. Puck is dumped out by Gillen. Here's Adrian Plavsic. Under 3 minutes to go. Mercifully, some might add. It's been a long one. Here's Brown. Momesso chopping at it. Adams back to Brown. 50 seconds left in the power play for the Canucks. Here's Brown. Shoots. Brown had a bead in the top shelf and visions of a hat trick dancing in his eyes. Momesso moving up after it. Here's Plavsic. Momesso. Back for Plavsic. Plavsic shoots. Heavy Rowland kicks that one away. 23 seconds left in the Vancouver man advantage.
There's only 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in this long, drawn-out third period.
Bit of interesting hockey marketing news coming up today. Cam Neely has just signed a 2-year deal with Nike in the U.S. The first NHL star in the U.S. to promote their product. Hockey just continues to grow south of the border. There's the tally. 226 minutes in penalties tonight. Trying to take it loose. Drake up there. 13 seconds left in the Vancouver power play. Merson trying to loft one in. That's knocked down. Ulanov will start back. Up ahead to Dallas Drake. Stepping up. Shoots. And then a weak shot towards the goal from Nelson Emerson. Penalized player is back. 1:36 to go. Here's Lafayette. Puck steered towards the goal. Selanne couldn't get to it. Grosick with Drake trailing. Here's Diddick. Selanne trying to get around Momesso. Diddick will come over to pick it up. Puck just batted in there by Steen. Less than a minute to go. And here comes Tkachuk. Grosick is with him. And Tkachuk was surrounded. Leeman will poke it back out. Adams up in the line there with Plavsic. Knocked back. Momesso will clear it in. Adams had to get out to get onside. Here's King coming up after it. He's bounced in the corner. And King took a little swipe at McIntyre. They've had a feud going in this third period especially. And they have 18 seconds to renew it. We'll see what happens. King down into the corner. Lume dumps it out. 12 seconds to go. And McIntyre and King have a few words. Almost.
The linesmen just keep those two apart right now. 12 seconds remaining in this long, drawn-out, hard-fought battle. And Chris King and McIntyre have gone at it before and been willing to go at it a few more times. Fans are starting to pour out of this building, figuring that with 12 seconds left, they must have seen it all.
Premature ball? I wouldn't be banking on anything until the horn goes.
Maybe the horn goes and all the players are off the ice. That'd be a safer bet.
And that will do it. The Canucks win their first game this season at home. A 5-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets. Outshooting them 47-22.
Well, a wild, drawn-out affair, but Kirk McLean, even though he only had 22 shots on him tonight, did play well, and that's a very positive sign for the Canucks. But even more so, this team got some offense going tonight. They had some spark. They were moving the puck well into Winnipeg's zone, and without Pavel Bure tonight.
Pavel Bure was a scratch with the flu. Took the pregame warm-up, but did not answer the bell to start this game. And the other big superstar, Timo Selanne, left the game in the first period after being crunched in neutral territory by Mike Pekka. Vancouver wins it by a score of 5-1. More still to come in the NHL tonight.
Super crisp, super spirals. McCain, what have you done to my fries?
We've spiced them up.
All right.
We've crisped them up. Brilliant. We've even curled them up.
Excellent.
McCain has taken its famous super fries, dipped them in light batter, and surrounded them with bite after bite of crispy, crunchy, super spicy satisfaction. Straight ahead or curled around. Super crisps and super spirals from McCain. You'll love what we've done to your fries.
With its 11-speaker spatial imaging sound system and sumptuous leather interior, the Chrysler LHS puts you in the lap of luxury. And if that's not enough, its 3.5-liter 214-horsepower engine invites you to try a few other laps as well. Chrysler LHS, the North American luxury car redefined.
Unchained, linked to a native instinctive appetite to break free, wheeling, leaving the city's limits behind, sight disappearing in the rearview mirror. Why? Because I am.
Last time we tried this, Teller didn't release himself on time. Not enough motivation. So this time we're going to try incredible new Diet Pepsi. It's like no Diet Cola ever. If Teller doesn't hurry, he won't get that uncompromising cola taste. 3, 2, 1 calorie that tastes like a million. New Diet Pepsi. All the taste you're after. See? He just needs the proper incentive.
Time now for the Molson Cup. 3 stars from the Pacific Coliseum. The 3rd star with 21 saves in the hockey game, Canuck goaltender Kirk McLean. Just 1 goal got by. The 2nd star, Vancouver captain Trevor Linden, who set up 2 Canuck goals. And the game's 1st star, Vancouver defenseman Jeff Brown, who got 2 goals and led the Canucks onto their 2nd victory of the season. Live from Hockey Control, Molson, NHL Tonight.
Conventional thinking says for a big interior, you need a big car. We say nonsense.
It's on in Denver right now. We're getting set to send you back to Buffalo for the 3rd period. Here's the 2nd period summary brought to you by Gatorade. Donald Brashear gets things going, but then it is all Buffalo Sabres. Goals 15 seconds apart by Jason Daw get it started, and then goals 14 seconds apart later in the period by Barnaby and Woolley give Buffalo a 4-1 lead. We'll send you back to Paul and Garrett.
Thanks, Gord, and we start this period off with the Canucks on the power play. Trailing by a score of 4-1. Sanderson after it up in the corner, got it to Lume. And here come the Sabres shorthanded. Pekka coming in. Ward is up there with him. Smelik is up there too. Shoots. Schmelik scores 26 seconds into the third period. It is 5-1 Buffalo.
Canucks come out starting the third period hoping that they could get the puck into the zone early and maybe get a power play goal. Instead, it works just the opposite for them. On-man advantage once again, and Schmelik here looked and found the perfect spot. I mean, he really didn't have a lot of room to shoot there. He had to go to the stick side. It was just inside the post. Just. Good shot by Schmelik. And a killer for the Canucks.
Well, the news is getting worse for Vancouver. The third period, by far, their worst. They have blown 3 leads in the third period. Games in which they've led. They've lost 3 of them. They've ended up tying 5 of them. That's a total of 11 points right there, which, by the way, would be the difference between last place and third place in their division.
That's a big difference.
But then again, it's one of those if'a, shoulda, coulda, mighta, woulda, maybe.
Well, it just shows you the fine line, though, Paul.
Well, no matter how fine the line is, the Canucks are decidedly on the negative side of the line. The way things have been going for them in this game and this year in general. They're having a hard time. Here's Linden. Shoots. Fired that one wide. Linden gets it back up. Ledyard with a shot. Running out of ways to say great save by Tkachuk. There's another one.
Jason Woolley went down to block the shot. Probably blocked Tkachuk's vision more than anything. But he finds a way to make the save anyway. He was on his butt, actually, when he made that save. But yet his eyes were looking squarely at the shooter, and he was able to glove that puck right out of the air. Tkachuk is unbelievable.
97 winner of the Hart Trophy, the Vezina Trophy. A lot of people forget he was already a very well-established goaltender in Europe before he ever came to North America. He's 33 and he's only in his 7th NHL season.
Says he doesn't like goaltender coaches, though. He thinks that goaltender coaches don't help goalies. He says you got to watch other goalies and decide how you're going to play. Now that's his opinion, and he's entitled to it because he's the best in the league right now.
Here's Barnaby moving up there, trying to work it through. McAllister plays it up to Brashear. Fires it in wide. Here's Leeman with it. Babbage plays it in. Big skip off the boards. Tkachuk takes a poke at it. He got to it before Stamos did. Here's Babbage. Schmelik. Babbage knocks it down at the line. Now here's Mike Pekka. Offside called on Vancouver. 16:48 to go in the third period. Great